Hi guys, welcome to my craft room. I am so excited for today because I got a new addition to my sewing collection. And it's behind me. This is the Cricut Maker 3. If you're not familiar, this is a computer-guided cutting machine and it cuts more than 300 different types of materials like paper, vinyl, fabric, and so much more. So I'm really excited to show you some fun, beginner-friendly projects that you can do with your Cricut that will help you in your sewing, but also crafting in general. Spoiler alert, I am the beginner. I feel like I've just barely scratched the surface on what this machine is capable of. But if you know me, you know I love simple, easy, beginner-friendly projects. So let's get started. Let's open our Cricut up and head over to Design Space. Speaking of beginner friendly, Design Space has a little exercise to guide you through your first project. And with this, I was able to learn Design Space in like 10 minutes. Once I had the design figured out, it told me what type of material to insert into my Cricut, which was this smart paper sticker cardstock. So I'll insert it into my machine and hit these little arrows, and this will draw the paper in and start to prepare to cut. Once it's ready to cut, we can hit the start button and it will start cutting our design. This was actually magic. I could not believe how fast this thing moved. This is me in real time, just flabbergasted. I have these lovely little tools to help me unstick my design. So I'm just grabbing the corner and kind of unpicking my sticker. This process was so easy, I felt comfortable enough to move on to fabric. Project number 1, we are gonna do some applique. So I'm using a cotton fat quarter. I'm gonna cut it down to fit into my Cricut, and I'm gonna iron on some fusible interfacing. This is just to give it a little bit of structure and stability. Once my interfacing is added, I'm gonna head back over to Design Space. It's almost Valentine's Day, so I wanted to find a cute red heart. Once I found the perfect one, I'm gonna resize it a little and get out my FabricGrip Mat. And this is me sticking the fabric on with the pretty side up until Design Space kindly let me know to put the material on with the bonding side facing up. I am telling you, Cricut is literally foolproof. Design Space really walks you through every single step. I'm gonna look to see what kind of tool I need. So I'm gonna grab my rotary cutter. That's the cool thing about the Cricut Maker 3. It cuts fabric. So I'm gonna insert it into slot B and we're ready to start cutting. So I'm gonna insert my fabric, press the little arrows, and then press the start button. And it'll start cutting my fabric. Once it's done, I can pull my design out, and now we have the cutest little red heart. And I added it to the front side of a tote bag that I was making, and I took it to my sewing machine and I sewed all around the heart. You could also create iron-on applique if you had some sort of heat transfer fusible interfacing, but I just had regular fusible interfacing, so I stitched it on. And then I finished assembling the rest of my bag. I added some cute little red straps, and this really was the cleanest cut and took no time at all. Applique is such a fun way to customize your projects. Project number 2, heat transfer vinyl. I found the cutest design on Design Space, and I grabbed some smart iron-on vinyl. This vinyl is shiny on one side, so again, Design Space told me how to insert the vinyl, and again, what tool I need. So I'm gonna switch out the blade to the fine point blade, and I'm gonna insert the vinyl with the shiny side down. And now we can start cutting. This was a 2-part design, so it had a little black piece, and then I'm cutting a piece of the holographic vinyl. It's kind of hard to see, but the design is right here, and I actually like to cut out around the border of the design. This just makes it a lot easier to unpick. I'm gonna grab my tool and pull at the corner until the shiny part starts to come off, and I'll just peel it off. Okay, the first piece is done, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the black piece. Peeling the vinyl off is literally so satisfying, especially this part, picking the little pieces off. Oh my gosh, so satisfying. Now I'm getting out my Cricut EasyPress, and another hack, if you download the app on your phone, you can select what type of material and what type of fabric you're working with, and it will tell you the exact temperature and time that you need to press the heat on. So following those directions, I'm gonna set my EasyPress to the right temperature. So I'm laying my t-shirt out, and the instructions say to warm it up first, and then I'll put my heart on and press it on for 30 seconds, and then I'll peel the backing off, and now we're left with this little purple heart. Our first part is done. Now going back to the app, I'm switching the settings for the black piece. This is also when I found out there's a little timer button, so it'll actually beep when your timer's up. I'll pull the backing off, and how cute is this design? I'm in love with this. This is again such a fun way to customize your creations. Project number 3, we're cutting a sewing pattern. I found these adorable fabric fortune cookies, perfect for little Valentines. This is one of my favorite things about the Cricut Maker 3 is that it can cut sewing patterns perfectly every single time. The cuts are really clean and neat, and seam allowance is already added for you, so that saves so much time. As someone who does draft patterns pretty often, between adding seam allowance, doing all the calculations, and cutting until my hands are sore, I'm telling you, so much time and energy was saved by using the Cricut. This pattern had me cut out a bunch of different circles in different colors. I put them right sides together and sewed them all around, flipped them right side out, added some top stitching, and then folded it in half, and then folded it into a little cone shape. I felt like I was doing origami. And then bam, they turned into fortune cookies. Another cool thing about the Cricut is you can use fine tip markers. So this pattern also had me draw. I used some butcher paper and a little fine tip marker, and it just drew the cutest little handwriting. I peeled the butcher paper off, and now I had some little fortunes to put in my fortune cookies. I would have never thought of this project idea. These are so adorable. I love that you can mix and match with different fabric types. Such a fun Valentine. And for our last project, we're gonna create our own text. So I'm going to new project. Here you can add text, you can add shapes, you can add really whatever you want and come up with your own design. I'm using some sparkly black smart vinyl and these little glasses. I'm gonna cut out some words because who doesn't love some organization in their sewing room? Just like before, I'm unpicking my design and I'll stick it right onto my jars. And now I have some more organization in my sewing room. Simple as that. Thank you so much for watching. It was so fun to play around with this machine and see what it's capable of. I would definitely recommend checking out the Cricut Maker 3 if you want to simplify the sewing process in some ways and just make it a little bit more creative and fun. And as always, feel free to follow along on Instagram and TikTok for more beginner-friendly projects and inspiration, and I'll see you soon. Bye!